Hi, Morgan. I hope when you're watching this, your toe is feeling better. I'm so sorry. We're going to go over Chapter 7 today of Well-Ordered Language, Interrogative Pronouns. So what I want you to do is read the lesson to yourself, 143 through 147, okay? You can stop after the pause for punctuation. I want you to pay attention to the poem, though, and underline all of the interrogative pronouns that you find in there. Who, which, what, whom. What are our other choices? Whose. And see what they do in the poem and what they serve to do. And you'll see that in some of the cases it modifies a noun, right? It functions as an adjective. So it might be the predicate adjective in the sentence. All right. Then after you have paid attention to that, I want you to look at the pause for punctuation. Make sure that you read that really carefully. It talks about hyphens. And it says a hyphen is a punctuation mark that can be used to form certain compound words, such as compound adjectives, when they function as a single unit. Okay, colors and a noun. When a compound adjective appears before a noun, it should be hyphenated. When it appears after a noun, it should not be hyphenated. So they show before, descriptive adjective, silver, -gray footprints, silver gray footprints, glistened in the snow. But if we use it after, the footprints were silver gray in the snow, we don't include the hyphen. Do you know why? Because it's not really functioning as an adjective directly describing. Instead, in that case, it functions as a predicate adjective. Okay, there's a slight difference, right? Okay, so next we will go through and diagram the sentences, analyze and diagram, So let's read it together. To whom do these silver gray footprints belong? Okay, so are there any conjunctions? No. So our order of analysis is phrases, clauses, principal elements, and modifiers. Are there any prepositional phrases? Why, yes, there are. Don't say yes, sir, okay? Prefer yes, ma'am, yes, Mrs. Aguilar. To whom? Okay. So what is our preposition? It is to. Our object of the preposition is whom. O-P. Okay, so let's read our sentence again. To whom do these silver gray footprints belong? Now we'll look at principal elements, right? We can say this is a sentence, and it is interrogative because it asks a question. Okay, so who does this sentence tell us about? Or what does it tell us about? Who? Footprints. Subject. What does it tell us about the footprints? That they do belong, right? Footprints do belong. So do is our helping verb. We can mark it HV. We don't have to mark it. Belong is an action verb, so we will call this our predicate verb. So let's see. Do we have a direct object here? Do we have a transitive verb? Belong? No. Okay, so let's go ahead and figure out what the rest of the words in the sentence are. We have silver gray. That's an adjective, and it describes footprints. What about these? Another adjective describes footprints. Okay, and we had a prepositional phrase. To whom? What does that modify? Does it modify the subject or does it modify the verb? Footprints to whom belong to whom? Yeah, belong. So we will call this an adverbial prepositional phrase. All right, so let's diagram it now. Can do this. Subject, footprints. Verb, do belong. Bah. Now we hang our modifiers. That's all of our principal elements. What modifiers do we have for footprints? We have these, and we have silver gray. What modifiers do we have for do belong? We have the adverbial prepositional phrase to whom. And what am I missing here? I'm missing that wonderful question mark at the end of our sentence. It goes after belong. Boop. There we go. Next sentence. Okay, so now we're going to look at compound sentences. I can't remember if we did this last year. I feel like we haven't done this at all. So let's do this. To whom do these prints belong? And to whom do those prints belong? Ooh, difference. To whom do these prints belong, and to whom do those prints belong? All right, we kind of just did this first part, right? So our order of analysis is phrases, clauses, principal elements, and modifiers. Do we have any conjunctions? Yes, we do. We have and. Okay, so what are our prepositional phrases? Do we have any? Yes, we do. We have to whom. To is our preposition. Whom is our object. In the other clause, we have to whom. Whoops, oh my gosh. Preposition, object of the preposition. Okay, are those all of our prepositional phrases? Good. Let's reread our sentence aloud. To whom do these prints belong? And to whom do those prints belong? This is a sentence, and it is, what kind? Interrogative, because it's got a question mark at the end. We're asking a question. All right. So let's look at our first principal clause. Okay, what is our first principal clause about? Prints. Subject. And what are the prints doing? Well, they do belong, right? So once again, we have a helping verb, we have a predicate verb. What about these? What does these do? It modifies prints, adjective. Let's look at our second second clause. Let's see. We have and as our conjunction, right, that joins the two sentences. So let's look at our second clause. What is that one about? Prints. And what's being said about the prints? They do belong, right? Helping verb, predicate verb. What about those? What does those do? It modifies prints. And let's not forget about our prepositional phrases. What does to whom modify? Once again, it modifies belong, like in the last sentence we did. So adverbial prepositional phrase. Our first sentence, to whom, same thing. Who do they belong to? Adverbial prepositional phrase. Now is where the real fun happens. All right. We are going to diagram. So we will diagram the first independent clause. Prints do belong. Do we have any modifiers for prints? Yes, we do. We have these. Do we have any modifiers for do belong? Yes, do belong. Oh my gosh. To whom? How will we join these? Well, we make a little floating line. We put our conjunction on the floating line with the comma, because that is how they're joined. They're joined with a comma and. We put a dotted line there, and we put another, oh, come on, iPad. We put another dotted line here. Imagine it, if you will. It's working. And we diagram the next independent clause. We'll join the two verbs together, all right? prince do belong? Whose prince? Those prince. Which prince? Those prince. Use your imagination with me, Morgan, okay? To whom? And we are missing, of course, question mark goes after the second belong. And I have a super long line. I don't really need it, but it doesn't hurt either. And that is how we diagram a compound sentence. Yay! Okay, let's look at part A of our practice. Hopefully I can make it through this. I've got a time limit. Okay. Page 152. I'm going to do this one in green just for fun. From which country did the Danes or Vikings come? Let's read our sentence together. Let's pretend we just did that. Do I have any conjunctions? Yes, I do. Or is our conjunction. Any other conjunctions? No. Do I have any prepositional phrases? I do. From which country? So from is our preposition, country is our object of the preposition, which is an adjective describing country. Which country? Which country? Oh, that's funny. Okay. Now let's read our sentence again. From which country did the Danes or Vikings come? This is a sentence, and it is interrogative. It's got a question mark at the end. What's the sentence about? It is about Danes or Vikings. Compound subjects. What is being said about Danes or Vikings? They did come. You can mark the did as helping verb. You don't have to. Is come an action verb? Yes, it is. So this is our predicate verb. What else isn't marked in our sentence? We've got a conjunction. We've got a the Danes. We'll just stick it on to the one that's right next to it. And we need to link our prepositional phrase. So does it modify the subject or the verb? From which country? Danes or Vikings from which country? Or come from which country? Come from which country? So we will call this an adverbial prepositional phrase. Let's diagram this puppy. We have a compound subject. So we will need to make sure to make our rocket ship and link it with our conjunction. Subjects, Danes, Vikings. We'll make our main line. We'll divide subject and predicate. Did come. I will remember the question mark this time because it goes right after come in the sentence. And now we shall hang our modifiers. Do we have any modifiers for Danes? Yes, we do. Do we have any modifiers for Vikings? No, we don't. Do we have any modifiers for did come? Why, yes, we do. I see hanging from it this beautiful prepositional phrase. From country which. Let's pretend like that's legible. Perfect. Next sentence. Along the coastline, whom did the Vikings attack regularly? Do we have any conjunctions? And, or, but, so, for, nor. Nope, we don't. Do we have any prepositional phrases? Yes, we do. Along the coastline. Along is our preposition. Object, coastline. The adjective describing coastline. Any other prepositional phrases? Nope. All right, so let's read the sentence again. Along the coastline, whom did the Vikings attack regularly? This is a sentence, and it's interrogative. What is the sentence about? Vikings. Subject. What did the Vikings do? They did attack. They like doing that. Attack is an action verb, so we'll call this our predicate verb. Now, is attack a transitive verb? Is there a direct object telling whom the Vikings attacked? Yeah, you know what? It's whom. Vikings did attack whom? Direct object. Let's mark all the words that are not marked. Regularly ends in ly. That gives us a hint. Adverb, modifying attack. The, adjective, modifying Vikings. Along the coastline, what does that modify? Vikings along the coastline or attack along the coastline? I agree, attack along the coastline. So this modifies the verb. It's an adverbial prepositional phrase. There we go. This one is a little bit easier to diagram than some previous ones, huh? Subject, Vikings. Verb, did attack. Direct object, whom. Do we have any modifiers for Vikings? Why, yes we do. The. Do we have any modifiers for did attack? Yes we do. It's right there. Prepositional phrase. Along coastline, the. Any other modifiers? Why, yes, we have another one right there. Regularly. Question mark comes after that word, right? So we'll include our question mark. Beautiful. Next sentence. What does Vic mean in the ancient language of the Danes? Do we have any coordinating conjunctions here? No, we do not. Do we have any prepositional phrases? Why, yes, we do. We have in the ancient language. In is our preposition. Language is our object of the preposition. Ancient is an adjective. The is an adjective. What about of the Danes? There's another prepositional phrase. So most of this sentence is prepositional phrase. Wonderful. So now we read our sentence again. What does Vic mean in the ancient language of the Danes? This is a sentence and it is interrogative. What is this sentence about? It's about Vic, subject. What is being said about Vic? That it does mean. So does, of course, is our helping verb. To mean is an action. Now, do we have a transitive verb? Does our bridge cross over? Vic does mean something? Yes, it does. What? It's our direct object. Even the grackle agrees with me. All right, so now we need to hang our prepositional phrases as modifiers. In the ancient language. Vic in the ancient language or mean in the ancient language? Aha, mean, right? In the ancient language. So we have an adverbial prepositional phrase. Of the Danes. Ooh, this is tricky. Vic of the Danes, mean of the Danes, or another noun like language of the Danes. Yeah, this prepositional phrase modifies language, which is our object of the preposition. So we have an adjectival prepositional phrase that modifies an object of the preposition. That's kind of fun. So let's diagram. Subject, Vic. Verb, does mean. Direct object, what? Make sure you capitalize that sucker. It's at the beginning of the sentence. Now we'll hang our modifiers. For me, do we have any modifiers for Vic? No, we do not. Do we have any modifiers for does mean? Yes, we do. We have this little beauty right here. Prepositional phrase. Oh boy. Okay, Mrs. Aguilar, you're going to have to get a little creative. It's going to go a little bit flatter. In language, we have two modifiers, right? The ancient, and then three modifiers. Because now, language is modified by the prepositional phrase of Danes the wondrous. All right. So Morgan, I want you to continue working on Lesson A, answer the questions on page 153, and then we will work on the sentences in Part B together in the next lesson.